So the hands we could actually rig in a number of ways. Some are more complicated than others. Some have more flexibility. I think I'm going to do something that's going to be, I think, a little bit easier to set up, just because there's a whole rigging class where you'll do something a little more fancy. So what I'm going to do is just make those lollipops I was talking about before. So I'm going to go create curve tools, CV curve tool, hit the option box, make sure you're on cubic. And this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to hold X for grid snap and click, 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 click. Oh, actually, let's undo. I need to do 3 here. Sorry. One. Let's get closer. I'm going to hold X and 1. So it's 1, 2, and then 3. And then we can do it this way. Boom, 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 boom. And then 1, 2, and 3. Okay. All right. We'll do that. And then I'm just going to make the pivot there. So I'm going to hold D and X and snap it so the pivot is there. And then we're going to also go to the attribute editor, enable drawing overrides, enable overrides, and we'll just make these yellow as well. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is let's just rename this something initially. So say Logan underscore finger controller underscore L underscore CRV underscore CRV. Okay. So we're going to make one of these for each finger, and we will go from there. Okay, so that looks acceptable. Let's rotate this way so it's a little bit easier to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to point snap it to the base of each finger. So take this guy, and I'm just going to hold W, hold V for point snap it there. I'm just going to see, is that an okay size? I think that's fine. You can kind of choose if you think it should be bigger. And actually, the orientation, oddly enough, looks pretty good right off the bat. Okay, so I was lucky. Control D and V to point snap, and I'm just going to rotate it slightly so it's a little bit more in line with that joint. Control D and V, and W and V, and E. And I'm just going to try and make these roughly the same direction as that. Okay, so Control D, W, and V to point snap. And again, just trying to get these to be roughly the same kind of direction as the fingers themselves. Control D, W, and V. And I think I'm going to put this one actually here. We just won't really use that joint because I think it's just going to be annoying to have it so far up. And then we'll just kind of go something like that, we'll say. All right. And we'll just rename these real quick. So this will be not finger controller, but it will be thumb. Okay. And then this one will be index controller. This one will be middle. Go to the end. Make sure you get rid of that 1 on the end. This will be ring. Okay. Ring. And the last one will be pinky. Okay, and okay, good. Okay, so you can see we have all of our controllers here. So I'm just going to grab them all, and I'm just going to hit Control G to put them in a group. Then I'm going to duplicate that group by hitting Control D. Then I'm going to scale them by -1, so I have them on the other side. Oops, because we're just trying. Come on. So we have them over here. I'm going to open up that group. I'm going to select all the ones in the group, and we're going to do Modify, Search, and Replace Names. Sorry, modify, search and replace names. It's already set up, hit replace. That'll replace all of them to the correct thing. So I'm going to hit Shift P to unparent them from that group. I'm going to go to the first group that we made, and I'm going to hit Shift P to unparent them from that group. Select both of these groups and get rid of them. And now that is better. Okay, so now we just need to basically put in some nulls and that sort of thing. So let's do that. So nothing selected, Control G. W and V, point snap it there. All right, nothing selected, Control G, V to point snap, Control D, Control G, V, point snap. Nothing selected, Control G, V to point snap to there. Nothing selected, Control D. Sorry, I keep hitting Control D, Control G, and V. Just want to see something. Let me look at my nulls. Okay, so that's the wrong one. That's got to be pinky. V to there, and let me see. We started. Okay, so thumb, index, middle, ring, pinky. Okay, I'm gonna do this hand first, And then I'll do the other one just because I feel like it's going to be confusing if we do too many at once. Okay, so we're going to do like we did before. We're just going to get the orientation of the joint, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's start with this one. Select this. Control click on that, on the null, constraint, and orient. Good. All right, same thing here. Select this, then the null, and G. Select this, the null, and G. Just keep an eye on the plus. That's how you know which one to grab. This one, then the one that's not the plus, and G. And this one, then the one that's not the plus, and G. Great. Now we're going to expand all these to get rid of those constraints. And delete. Okay, so now we got all of our nulls. Oops, missed one. Okay, good. Now we're just going to parent each of these controllers to the corresponding null. So grab this to this and P. So this controller to this null and P. Select this controller to this null. Let me just show you something. If I select this and I select the wrong one, notice, see how it went over here? It should be here. So keep an eye on, make sure you're grabbing the right one. So this to this and P. And this to this and P. And this to this and P. Okay, now we're going to grab all of these. Okay, grab them all. And we're going to go modify freeze transformations. So now they're all zeroed out, and they are all the same orientation now as the joints that they will be controlling momentarily. And that looks acceptable. Now, I'm actually not going to hook them up quite yet. I'm going to do the other side, and then you'll see we're gonna hook them up slightly different than we've been doing before. Okay, and you'll see why. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and collapse all these like so. And we're just going to make new nulls over here. So nothing selected, Control G, W, and V to point snap, Control G, and V to point snap, Control G, and V to point snap. I'm just clicking off each time, Control G, and V to point snap, nothing selected, Control G, sorry, and V and point snap. So I should have thumb, index, middle, ring, and pinky. Good. Okay. Now we just need to do the same thing we did before. So select this, then the corresponding null, and constraint, and orient. Great. Okay, this, not that one, sorry. This, the null, and G. This, and the null, and G. This, and the null, and G. And this, and the null, and G. G is a very handy hotkey, I'm sure you've noticed. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I've got the right one. Okay, so that's the thumb one. Just make sure you don't grab one of these ones up here. See how it's going over there? So make sure you're on the right one. I'm just going to expand these now so we can delete all of those constraints that we just made. Okay, delete. Good. Now what we're going to do is parent each one of these to the corresponding nulls. So select this controller, then that, and P. Now, you can't mirror this because you could be like, well, why can't I just do all that and then mirror? The problem is if you went and you mirrored it, everything, if you remember, I put a -1 on the scale. It's going to screw up the entire thing. And it'll be weird. All the numbers will all be backwards and stuff, and it doesn't work. You have to do it manually, which is very frustrating. I'm sure you've noticed. It's a lot of repetition. Okay, so we're going to select this, corresponding null, and P. This, corresponding null, and P. This, corresponding null, and P, and this, come on, this, and corresponding null, and P. Okay, I'm going to grab them all here. Just click, Control, click, 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 click. You can also just hit Command to click each all of them, or you can just click on them here, and then just go Modify, Freeze Transformations. Make sure you're not grabbing the nulls. I'm grabbing the controllers, okay? So now they're all inheriting the nulls orientation, and we can now collapse all of these. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is this. I could go through and do a single controller for each one of these, and that would give us ultimate control, but that would obviously be a lot of hookup, and it would honestly be a lot of animation. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to just I'm going to try doing a direct connection, and then we'll let that just be the way that it is. All right. So what we're going to do is I will start with the thumb here. Okay. So I'm going to have nothing selected, and I want you to go to Windows, General Editors, Connection Editor. And I want you to select the thumb controller, reload left. That's going to be not our driver, but the output. Then I want you to select this joint, just the base joint, and reload right. And I want you to go down. I want you to look for the rotation. So remember, it's alphabetical. Where you rotate? Order. There it is, rotate. Okay. And then over here, I can click on rotate because I'm going to have this thing's rotate drive the rotate of all the rotate of this joint. I'm not doing it individually, which means now if I grab this, you'll see when I rotate it, see how it rotates that object with it. It's kind of like doing a constraint. It's a little bit different because it's a direct connection, but this is going to be a little bit quicker than doing it the other way. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to put a different thing in the output. So I want you to grab this one, reload right, and this time I don't want you to do all of them. I only want to control the Z. So look for rotate, and we want to go from rotate Z to this one's rotate Z. So what that means is, because if you move your thumb, right, I can't sway this joint both ways. So you'll see when I roll this, it'll only roll the base one because it only has a direct connection to the base one. It'll only swivel the base one. See how that one's not getting affected? However, when I rotate this one, it will also rotate this one. Okay, so that's kind of the secret sauce of what we're doing. Now we're going to do that for the rest of them. Select this, reload left, select the base joint here, reload right, go from rotate to rotate. Okay, now what we're going to do is select this next finger joint down. You can actually do two if you want to try it. It's going to be confusing. Select just the next one, reload right, and now I want you to go from rotate Z to rotate Z. Select the next one down, reload right, still on rotate Z, go over here and do rotate Z. So again, you'll see if I swivel, notice it doesn't affect these one, only affects this one. When I roll, only affects that one. However, when I go to curl, it affects all of them. They all curl with it. So it gives us kind of like an interesting way to be able to control. Because if you look at your finger joints, right, the ones down here, they can't move. But you can move your base finger a little bit like this. You actually can't roll it. But if you need to be able to roll it, it'll be a nice little addition to be able to adjust the shape a little bit. Okay, and that's what we're going to do all the way down. Select this guy, reload left. Select this, reload right. Go from rotate to rotate. Select this. I'm going to do two at this time. Select both of these. Reload right. I'm going to go from rotate Z to rotate Z. And then what you're going to see is you have to actually scroll down, and then you can find the next one. So right here, rotate, rotate Z. It doesn't really, how do you know that it's the second one? Anyway, that's what it is. But I think that's actually probably more confusing. We'll just do one at a time. Make sure that did work. Yeah, they're both working. Okay. Select this one, reload left. Select this joint, reload right, rotate to, where are you? Rotate. Okay. Select this joint, reload right. This time from rotate Z only to rotate Z. Select this joint, reload right, rotate, sorry, on Z to rotate Z. Same thing here. Select this one, reload left. Select the base joint, reload right, from rotate to rotate. Select this one, reload right. This time only rotate Z and only rotate Z. Select the next joint down, reload right, we're already on rotate Z, rotate Z. Okay, and I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. I know, having a good time so far. So select this, reload left. Select this, reload right. We're going to go from rotate to rotate. Select the next joint down, reload right. This time, rotate Z only to rotate Z only. Okay, just going to work our way across. Select this, reload left. Select the joint, reload right. Rotate Z, or I'm sorry, all rotate to all rotate. Select this joint here, reload right. This time, only rotate Z to only rotate Z. Select this one, reload right, and only rotate Z to only rotate Z. Next finger, reload left, reload right, rotate to rotate. Select the next joint down, reload right. This time, from rotate Z to rotate Z. Select the next joint down, reload right, rotate Z to rotate Z. Next finger, reload left, reload right, from rotate to rotate, reload right, and this time only rotate Z to only rotate Z. Reload right and rotate Z to rotate Z. One more, reload left. So from all rotate, gotta do this one, reload right, sorry, rotate. So rotate, rotate, reload right, only rotate Z, to only rotate Z. This one, reload right, only rotate Z, and close. Okay. So, just so you get an idea of how this works now, you can see that it makes it a little bit easier. Like, I can grab all these and easily kind of make a fist because, see, it curls them all. However, if for some reason, see, like this finger is going too much that way, I can adjust it a little bit, but I can still just curl it. But I can do all the things I need, but it isn't going to bend on these other joints, which makes it a bit better, okay? It gives me enough control, enough flexibility to sort of, do what I needed to. Okay, let's just make sure that all of these fingers here are going to be parented to this guy. So we got that one. All right, where does it start? Okay, so it's null 12 to 16. Okay, so here to 16. So I got all of the nulls. I'm just going to go ahead and control G and just call this like hand nulls. Hand controller nulls, just so that I know it actually should have been underscore null. Underscore null. This is bad naming. I'm just going to take that, and then I'm going to parent it to this controller. So that group, I'm going to shift click, and then P. That way, when I move this, you'll see the hand moves, the controllers will move with it, and then I can move these afterwards. It's just so that the hand controllers move with the whole arm. Right? That's what we're after. We're going to do the same thing on this side now. So if you have a hard time selecting them, you can also just do this. Click on each one of the controllers. Although that's almost harder to do. Select on all the controllers. Hit the up arrow. It'll go to their corresponding nulls. Hit Control G. And then I'm just going to call it hand controllers underscore null. And then we're going to take that, we're going to parent it to this controller. So shift click and P. So now these are moving with this arm. Great. That looks pretty good. The next thing I need to do, I need to do one more thing, and that's just, if you look, you can see these aren't connected to this anyway, so we're just going to parent these down. So I'm going to take this guy and this guy. So that's these two nulls right here, and I'm going to parent them to this. So I'm going to select null 1 and null 5, and then shift click on this and hit P. So now when this rotates, you can see it rotate. It's going to be a little bit off because they're not 100%, but it should give me a good enough. Not really a fan of that. Let's undo that. Okay. We're going to do this. Select both of these nulls, this one and this one, hit Control G, and call this the we'll call this the upper, well, it's gonna be Logan first. Logan upper body controllers underscore null. Okay, so now, oops, didn't mean to do that. Now if I move it, you can see that moves all the controllers. I actually want to make this neck part of it as well, so this is the null 9. So we're going to take that. I'm just going to drag that also into this. So now that's all of the upper ones. Basically, it's everything we did right now. Okay, good. And what I'm going to do, instead of having them parented to this, I'm actually going to have them move based on the joints, but I don't want to parent it to this joint. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do a constraint. So I'm going to select the chest joint, control click the nulls group, and then you're going to go to constraint, and we're going to go to parent, hit the option box. Make sure, I'm going to reset settings, make sure maintain offset is on, and hit add. So now what's going to happen is when I go to rotate this, you'll see it'll stick to the joints because it's not this controller that's driving it, it's the joints. So it'll be a little bit more stuck on there. But these will still all be able to do like they were doing before. And I think that's everything I needed. Yeah, okay. So that is the FK controls. We're getting there. I know it's a little bit clunky, but and the next ones what we're gonna do is we'll figure out the eye controls, and we're gonna clean it up basically to make sure everything can move together. But that is it. So good job. I know FK controllers are way more confusing, a lot more complicated than you think they would be. It's a weird process. Anyway, see ya. I look forward to seeing your work.